welcome in to another episode of In the Crease Podcast with men's lacrosse head coach John Galloway. I'm Matt Moretti. The In the Crease Podcast brought to you by Baptist Health. Coach, how we doing?
We're doing well. It's amazing to think it's almost game week. I guess we can say that now with it being just a day out. I know normally Tuesdays are more of a midweek prep, but knowing that we're gonna have a game 8 days from now, it's officially light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, I mean, a little disappointing last week to have the scrimmage pushed back with some COVID protocol stuff going on the opponent's side, but you guys were able to get out there and kind of create a little bit of an environment with an inter-squad scrimmage. What was that like?
Yeah, I think it was really a blessing in disguise. Obviously, anytime you have the opportunity to play against another jersey, it gives you a sense of what a game feels like. But for us this past Saturday, we were able to kind of emulate what a game felt like. We made two teams. We created man up and man down units. We were able to really utilize it as a scrimmage. And not only that, we were able to play more bodies and obviously get more experience for some of our younger guys. We really, I thought, did a great job of creating an atmosphere of a game where you could even see a little bit of the jitters and having refs out there and calling things that maybe don't always get whistled dead on a practice. So I thought, after the fact, in hindsight, it actually worked out really well for us. And I think it prepped us well for a really high quality opponent in Limestone this weekend. That's going to come in big, strong, top 10 Division II team and has won national championships. So it's going to be a great opportunity for us and really a great progression as we get ready for Bellarmine next Wednesday.
Yeah, when you're hosting those intra-squad scrimmages, what are you evaluating? And even if you want to talk about practice too, like when you're trying to get to a point in the season or even this early in the season, when you're trying to separate guys out and know who's going to see time at certain spots, like what are you trying to evaluate in a guy on a given practice or even in that inter-squad environment?
Yeah, a term that we use a lot in our program is stacking wins. And really that is what we like to look for in practice. I think that a lot of people get enamored with an individual performance or one really big day of practice, but the ability to consistently stack wins, so 3, 4, 5 days in a row of consistent performance in a multitude of different drills. And I think that's what our elite level players do. They show up every day to practice, and everybody has a good day. I mean, we practice 130 times a year. So everyone has a good day. And when they have that good day, they feel like they should be here on the depth chart. And, what we look for as a coaching staff is consistency. And what that allows us to do is trust that guys are going to show up and perform on Saturday. And really that's what we're looking for in the inter-squad scrimmage is what guys show up when the lights are on. And I thought we saw a number of young guys who are playing at a high level, but it was their first time playing in the game and you could see the jitters. And I think we saw some older guys that may have struggled throughout the preseason that were able to kind of find their groove again in the game setting and prove themselves as, we use a phrase a lot in sports of being gamers, but I do think there's some truth to that. I think there's some guys that know how to turn it on when the lights are on. And I think we're able to identify a few guys like that and made our jobs difficult this week going into the next one, but made our team better and made it more competitive.
When you can fast forward a little bit, we've gotten into the season and you've got that clear rotation of guys and there's not always enough to go around. What are you looking for out of those scout team guys on a week to week basis? Like how do you keep them motivated and what is their role on the team to kind of keep the rotation guys going?
Yeah, I think this year more than ever, that group has to be more prepared. And obviously with everything going on with COVID, we do have we'll have a few injuries going into the first game like everybody does in the country. We'll have a few disciplinary issues throughout the year. And what's cool for that next group is they're motivated. They're motivated to be ready regardless of when their name is called. So we have a lot of guys that have played games for us that are now on that white team we refer to that are preparing for the opponent, but they're going to be called upon on game day here to perform. So something we've done is try to shift the mindset to kind of the starters and the scout team to, hey, let's put all of our eyes on the offensive focus and let's have everybody learn the game plan here. And if we do have an issue with COVID or if we have an issue with an injury, it's not the first time that a young man who's been on the white team is now being elevated to the green team. They may not get as many reps as the ones, but they're certainly going to be able to see and listen to coach and understand what the game plan is. So God forbid we do have an issue on the Thursday or Friday. We're not scrambling to teach them everything that we're doing. So that's been exciting as a coaching staff to learn how to adjust and to fly on the fly and really to make sure that our guys who don't get every rep in practice still feel like they have the knowledge and the wherewithal to be able to go out and execute on game day.
Yeah, and that's great. And you just touched on it there. Can you talk through a little bit what the roles for you've got a robust staff over there at the Rock, and talk through what the roles of the staff is kind of on a game week. You've got the OC, the DC, and the supporting cast there. Like what are you looking for out of those guys on a given game week?
Yeah, this week is actually ironically our first dry run. So we're in the process of kind of working out those nooks and crannies. But obviously, when you play a game on a Saturday and you don't play again until the next Saturday, it's a really clean schedule. And for us, because we had the opportunity to prepare for a team like Bellarmine a little bit earlier, we're going through that dry run right now. And the fact that game is on a Wednesday and not a Saturday. So we're fortunate. And what we do is on Sundays, we obviously really evaluate ourselves. We look at the previous scrimmage or the previous game and really try to identify the issues that we have within our locker room, the strengths that we can build on, the weaknesses that we have to improve, and really try to look in the mirror versus looking ahead at the next opponent. And then Sunday evening as a coaching staff, that's when we get to kind of break off and start to work on our own special areas of the game. So Coach Grinelli and Coach Brzezinski spent a lot of time on Sunday preparing for Bellarmine, as this was being a dry week and being able to kind of see what that would look like next week after their game. And for me, my focus is really on the big picture of the team, what we need to prepare for throughout the week, what practice looks like, the duration of practice, the intensity of practice, what it looks like to play a Wednesday game, how we can be at 100% physical and mental fitness on that Wednesday. And then today on our day off, our Tuesdays, this is when we collaborate. So we kind of take 2 days to really identify the script of the game and what we want to do and accomplish. And then we'll come together this afternoon and we'll put all those ideas on a whiteboard and then we'll hash it out. And the idea is Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday really become all about the team, about the guys in the locker room, about their focus and their individual improvement. And then Wednesday, we start to lay out the game plan for Saturday. And that's really the process that we're going through right now. And again, every week it's a little bit different, but it allows us to collaborate. And that's a word that we use a lot this week is, ideas from the face-off unit with Coach Colpitz and what we're seeing from the goaltending and what we're seeing on both sides of the ball and in between the lines. And how do we put that all in kind of a big ball so an 18 to 22-year-old can absorb it in the midst of taking virtual classes and, living their own lives, making sure that they have the right information, not all the information, I think is really important for us as a staff.
Peel back the curtain for me a little bit now and don't reveal too many trade secrets here, but when you're putting together a game plan or that game script, what are you guys identifying or using as differentiators to start to put those type of things together? And then how are you delivering to the guys in that digestible format?
Yeah, it's a good question. Lacrosse is so much different than other sports like a football where it's very scripted. You know what's going to happen, you know what they're going to run. So for us, it is a little bit more generic in nature. It's tendencies, it's things that we see that they're having consistent success with. We're not going to break down every play they run and every clear and every ride, because ultimately in the game, one drop pass, one missing body at one location changes everything. So we want our guys to be able to react and act accordingly. So for us, it is consistent in tendencies. It's the ability to identify the opponent's strengths, areas that we're good at. We try this year specifically not to change what we do. I think it's really important that we kind of stay true to ourselves and make small adjustments versus changing our game plan on a week-to-week basis. And then for our players, kind of the introduction to it is everybody learns differently. Some guys want the film of the opponent Saturday afternoon after the game. Some guys requested that film immediately after it was posted. Some guys like the least amount of information because they like to act on their own instinct. And we have to try to address every type of learner. And tomorrow morning, we'll learn a little bit on the field. Tomorrow afternoon, we'll learn a little bit more in the film room. Thursday is a little bit more unit based. So we try to cover whiteboard, on the field, in the film room, individual meetings, anything that we can do to address the different learners and make sure that regardless of who you are, come Friday, you feel like you're very well aware of what we're trying to do. You know the script, and you can go out and execute. And that's really our hope. And again, like I said, it's a trial and error for sure early on in the season, but we're in the midst of that trial right now.
Hey, that's great. And and to your point, unique to the sport of lacrosse, where it's that different type of vibe when you're preparing. It's not as cut and dry as, to your point, football or maybe even a basketball at times, where they're running set things in a smaller environment. Let me step outside of that for a second and talk. We didn't get the chance to talk much about it in the fall and winter. A lot of what you guys spend time on in the summer and into the fall is heavily recruiting based. And you guys, from my experience with you guys, take a really unique approach to it, and do everything in your power to utilize the resources you have to be a high level recruiting outfit. Can you just lay out that thought process to me and how you arrived at that sort of strategy there?
Yeah, I think first of all, we identified the challenge of recruiting to Jacksonville in the sport of lacrosse as our geographic location. And we knew it would be a challenge to get a lot of guys down here consistently. So first and foremost, we had to have some sort of recruiting presence on social media, with our graphics, the ability to communicate with our recruits in different mediums versus just in person. And I think that that's what we've identified with your office and been able to kind of separate ourselves from maybe the pack of mid-majors in lacrosse, that, hey, we're a place that's going to be constantly on social media. We're going to provide videos. We're going to provide insider access. We're going to treat our recruits like what we think of them as 5-star recruits at a big time football program, and try to treat them that way because that's how we see them. And then with that, we have to be able to tell our story. And I think that's the hardest part to do through social media and through video, but we have to be able to share what we do here without you ever stepping foot on campus. And really that's true for everybody right now in the COVID world. But I think that we are maybe a step ahead just because we've had to do that in the past. And now our job is to identify talent from A to Z. And what I mean by that is, for the first chance that we get to evaluate a kid until that senior semester, or even when they go to a next institution and look to transfer, that recruiting window never ends for us. And I think that ultimately comes down to the relationship that you have with the kid. I mean, if you get said no to, those kids talk, and you have to have the ability to swallow your pride a little bit and understand that kids are going to make difficult decisions. And it's not always going to be to come to Jacksonville University, but how you treat a person, how you treat a 17 or 16-year-old will ultimately come back to you down the road. And I think that that's something we've learned as well. And I know we've recruited kids and then recruited them later on out of the transfer portal or for a 5th year. And I think that for us, that's been a lesson learned, that you treat everybody with great amount of respect, knowing that they're either going to talk about it to their teammates and their club mates or their coaches, or they're going to have the opportunity to maybe come to your institution down the road. And we've been able to develop really good relationships that way.
How do you strike that balance now during the season, where when the guys are out of town and it's summertime, you can really dive into recruiting, but when the guys back and now you're rolling into the spring with the season and you've got to kind of start to mesh the strategy. How do you keep that balance?
Yeah, it's a challenge. I think obviously what we try to do now is tell our story through our guys, through the experience that they have in the spring. I mean, this is the most enjoyable part of their year. So being able to share that story of what we're doing right now as a program, I think excites recruits. And then obviously the ability to stay consistent in your communication. We as a coaching staff kind of have a breakdown of how we communicate with our commits. And, really we have 2 classes almost completely full of commits in the 2021 and 2022 class that build up half of a team. So, it's a challenge to communicate with a full team, and then, that next 2-year wave of what your team will look like. So that's our focus in the spring, staying in touch with those recruits that we have been in contact with. But really, as you mentioned, we'll revamp and redo the evaluation process come this summer. Right now, it's the ability just to stay relevant and to stay communicative with the guys that are part of the group already.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. And then you mentioned it. This group that you have on the roster right now, there's a lot of stories. There's going to be, and throughout the course of this podcast, we're going to start as we get deeper into the year and want to add some time to this. We'll start bringing some guys in and some coaches too. But is there a story you want to get out there about any of these guys? I'm putting you on the spot here. I didn't prep you for this one. But if there's a guy, and maybe we'll start doing this more consistently, is there a guy you want to tell us a story about?
Yeah, I think, again, there's so many different stories. Obviously, I think a unique one right now is, the transfers and all those guys that are coming in. Mm-hmm. I know we've touched on that. So I'll start there with a young man, Matt Stagnita, who is a guy for us that I think, highly recruited out of high school, Under Armour All-American, Attackman of the Year in New Jersey, played at Johns Hopkins for 4 years, came down here, a different place than Johns Hopkins, but a place where he was able to, I guess just continue his career, reinvigorate his career, however you want to word it, put him in a position where he's had comfort in the past and give him a lot of responsibilities. I think for us, we've seen this young man really just come and become part of the fabric of our program. And I think that's what excites me about Matt is he's a guy with all these accolades and all these stories and all this history. And his dad's a coach in the Premier Lacrosse League that I know well. And there's all these connections, but from a really, grassroots standpoint, it's a young man who just seems really refreshed and enjoying the game. And he's on the field right now shooting, ironically. And I think that is a testament to, his personality, his passion for the game. I'm really just excited and happy for him. And I'm excited for him, although it's going to be a different color than he's been used to the last 4 years, for him to put on that Jacksonville jersey next Wednesday and to walk out of the tunnel and to become part of a new program, but hopefully to be able to just play the game like he did as a kid. And I'm excited to watch that unfold next Wednesday.
You know what color we'll have on next Wednesday?
That's right. He is going to be in the white and green. We're looking forward to seeing that.
I like it.
Yeah.
All right, Coach. Couple minutes left here. Do you want have a last word here? Anything on the way out?
Yeah, I think, again, we've been talking so much about obviously the first game and the excitement of that and what that feels like a year later. And I think everybody's been talking about everyone's first chance to get back on the field. But I have to remind myself not to look past this opportunity we have on Saturday, this really high end quality opponent. It is a scrimmage, but with that said, it will be the first time that we've seen a different color since March 10th, 2020. And I know we said that last week and we hoped that we had that chance, but scrimmages are a little bit more meaningful now. I mean, it's only one of 14 times we're going to see a different color now. And to play a Division II nationally ranked opponent that is big and strong and fast and tough, and they're going to come down here ready to kick our butts. And I almost forget the excitement that's going to be on Saturday at 1:00. So I'm looking forward to seeing some more folks and families in the bleachers. It was really cool to see people back out at Rock Beach last week and the opportunity for our guys to see another color for the first time in a really, really long time. So excited about that. Still got the jitters a little bit even as a coach, and I know our players will as well, but really good opportunity against a really high quality opponent.
Well, that's a good place to leave it, I think, Coach. Appreciate the time and good luck this weekend, and we'll talk next week. All right.
Look forward to it, man. Thanks for having me.
All right. Catch you later, Coach.
See ya.